Alright, welcome to my beautiful workshop. It is pristine and organized like everything in my life. So I got the thingamajig hooked up to, or loaded on this SD card for the G-code file. It's really dark in here, so we're gonna go over here and plug in my utility light so we can actually see. There we go. That clearly did not do what I wanted it to do. Actually, one second. Thanks, Molly. There we go. Fix the light. Alright, we're gonna slide in the card. Actually, what we're gonna do, that's backwards. Slide in the card. Actually, plug everything in. Get all the cat hair off of it because this is where my cat lives. Where does the power go? There it is. So you can actually see what I'm doing. Kind of, it's hard to do with one hand. Alright, so that's the power for the ATmega 256, whatever it is, that has all the stepper drivers here. And those run all the stepper motors that are in the CNC machine. And then we also have like relays and stuff that actually bring in the higher voltage power, which really not that high, it's like 12 volts. But these boards often run at 5 volts max, so you have to have a separate power system to handle all that. So each one of these little things here, those are control steppers. These are the stepper wire connectors, those go into the machine. This is like another separate power board for the 12 volts and a bunch of other stuff. This goes over to the control console, and I did like one custom build, and all I did for this thing was to add my name in here. So it is just really special now. So there's the file we just made. When we're ready, we'll hit that, but we are not ready. So we need to get this thing powered up, and I need to clean this place up. It's getting kind of ridiculous. Now I'm gonna keep that there. Alright, so I like to have my power running from the ceiling, which sounds crazy, but I have these hooks that were left over from the previous owner, so whenever I want to like get this stuff out of the way, I just hook it up and it brings it down, and whenever I need it, there's no power cable anyone's tripping over, so I can just bring this over here. This is the power strip that runs on CNC. I'm gonna electrocute myself trying to do this one-handed. What's happening here? There. Alright. Now that going, it's a pretty sophisticated mechanism to turn the router on and off, which is plugging it in. So I'm not going to plug it in just yet. This pops off. Pop off the other side. And then this whole front comes off, because I figured that was better than a hinged door. So inside we got the CNC machine. There we go. And that's what's gonna be doing the magic. I got a little light here. It appears very purple for some reason. I don't know what the deal is. Oh, I do know what the deal is. That's actually a grow light, but I'm just being resourceful here. I guess I could also put some plants in here when I'm not using it. But anyway, what I need to do is, first of all, this is usually a no-no. You should not move these. If you move a stepper motor manually, it induces a current, and if you do it fast enough, depending on the connected electronics, you induce a current into the actual electronics and you can fry something. But I've been okay so far, and that means probably almost nothing, but that's what I'm going for. Alright, so give me 1 second. I'm gonna swap out the bits. I think I can sit you right here, maybe. Yeah, good enough for this video. So this isn't all that difficult. I just have to remember what size of wrench that I actually need. This looks similar. No. I have like those 150 or whatever ridiculous amount of ratchet sets, and this is what I end up using. Wow, that is loose already. Oh no, it's not. It's just because I haven't locked it. So I have to like press this in. There we go. So this, I don't know if you can tell in this blurry video, but it's kind of like charred and burned, and I bet it's really horribly dulled at this point. So I'm just going to swap it out. I have like a set of 8 of these things because apparently that's just what happens. Alright, found my set. Now if I can remember how to open it. Come on now, there we go. Put these back in place. So, new blade. That's not really what you call it, but I don't care. Stick it in there. Do this little songy dance where you lock it, hold the bit in so it doesn't fall down, and tighten it. And then hope that you don't twist the whole router off of the chassis. Alright, I think we're good. Of course. Alright, I hope that was entertaining for you. So we're going to reposition this back to the middle-ish, maybe a little tad back so I can see what I'm doing. And so now we got a new milling bit. What next? Alright, so everything's hooked up. My router is not powered yet, but that's okay. I think what we're going to do is we're going to run through a demo before we have anything in here. So I'm going to say this is where I wanted it to be when I want to start cutting. What will it do? So we'll go up here, print from SD, do that. And you like my little holder, it is a wedge of wood. Yeah, so it should just kick it right off. So that's a good sign. Hear all the wonderful noises. See the little, yeah, it's not spinning. It's moving very slowly. I'm moving the camera too much so you can tell. But yeah. You don't want this moving too fast, because then you'll put too much stress on the milling bit and the whole chassis and everything. And as you can see, I mostly have a zip tied in at this stage because some things broke, but it seems to be okay so far. I actually printed some new mounts. Like these are actually, like, you can see that, like it was just straight up cracked off. And then the bottom also did the same thing, because that's just how things work when you 3D print something. It's not like industrial quality. So that would have been a tab that it just cut. I think we're good. I'm going to go ahead and stop it, which is this emergency reset button, which then makes me have to reset the entire thing, but that's okay. This is just a router. Don't really care. So we're cutting this into this piece of wood here. So we're gonna wanna, it doesn't have to be in the center, but that would be nice if it were. So it's a 2x2. I could be lazy here. How lazy do I want to be? This is like a foot ruler. I could just be like, that's pretty sloppy. This thing, probably better. Yeah, we'll do this. So, we want it to be 12 inches over. Love cameras. All right. 12 inches over. That looks more or less like 12. Yeah, so, and then we want 12 inches up. So, right here, so we'll just get a little pencil. Get my, I like to use my really giant fat Field Notes pencil for anything that I can, because it's just the kind of person that I am. So put a little splotch right there. Eyeball it. That looks like the center. Eyeballing is more like a sanity check, because yeah, sometimes things just don't work out. Like I was hanging a set of 3 pictures, the kind like you can get on Amazon, where it's like the same picture but it's like broken up into 3 panels. I worked really hard to get them all lined up, and then I stood back and they were in a completely wrong order and made no sense. So I always have to second guess myself. Whoops. Well, just like that, where I swiped on the screen and darkened the picture. Alright, so the next thing we need to do is take this guy with one hand and hope that it fits in here. It should, because it's a standard piece of wood. I'm assuming everything's lined up. Gotta get all the cat hair off. So I made sure, the thing that you have to do with this is, like, if you want good right angle cuts, there are so many pieces on this CNC machine and the base and this little, what they call a sacrificial board that gets constantly chopped up from things. Everything has to be at the perfect right angle, and sometimes you mess up. And it would not hurt today to grab my favorite little ruler. This little thing, super handy, very light, and check that these are the same depth, because I'm using this board as a reference, and if the reference is messed up, then I can't do anything. Okay, sorry, I'm not looking at the right place. So we're looking at basically 2 1/8 inches plus a couple like 64ths. For this side, we're looking at 2 1/8 inches and a couple 64ths. Yeah, that's very accurate, or very close. I don't know if accurate is the right word. because, yeah. Alright, so it looks like as long as I keep this flush on the edge with this piece, I should be set to get a decent right angle on this, assuming all of my setup for this is right, which I'm not going to do that right now. This is just not that important. But in the past it's done very well, so I'm not too worried. I want to make sure it's not raised in the back because I'm going to put a lot of pressure in the front. And it's a pain in the ass to clamp the back, so I'm just going to do clamping in the front here. And go get my new little C-clamps that I got just for this. And with one hand, loosen up C-clamps. One day I'll just get a tripod for my phone. Alright, not quite. So it's safe. There we go. It's safe to have things above like this handle, as long as it doesn't go in this area right here. As long as it's like stops right here, I can have random crap to attach stuff. And this basically will just, as you might expect, stop this from moving around, make sure we're still flush. And the interesting thing is, you will feel something become out of flush with your hand before you will see it. That's a pretty common milling machinist piece of knowledge. I think it's if it's over like something like if it's over 1/1000th of an inch, you can you can see it, or if it's under, you can still feel it for a certain degree. I don't know exactly what the limits are, though. There was some rule. I'm not a machinist. I'm just a dude. And that's what makes this fun. That's what makes it a hobby. I can be a software engineer and take that seriously, but I can be incompetent at this and not care. Alright, we're feeling good. We want to next line this up. Now, what we're going to need to do, focus. Alright, what we're going to need to do is perform some movements, because it's very tedious to do this by hand through this little crank. So like, every time I turn this, it's going to adjust this Z height. And we want to get it as close as we can. Right now it's doing a centimeter at a time. And once we get it close, a centimeter is a very dangerous thing. Yeah, I'm not doing that. So I'm going to back off. I'm going to do it by millimeter now. And hope I turn it in the right direction. Nope. Other direction. So you want to get it right on that dot. Alright. So now I think we're close enough to do things manually. So what we want is for that to line up perfectly there. And then there's a little knob I can twist up here. If you can see. And, geez. Never mind, it is locked. Thank you, software engine lock things. So I'm going to go back to the little controlly board and do sub-millimeter movements until I'm basically on the wood. I think that's about as good as I can get without drilling a hole. Alright, so we are ready to cut. one thing did just occur to me that I might not be able to put the front on this thing unless I position these just right. I think we'll be okay. Alright. I'm going to set this right here while I put the thing back on. There. This way, all the dust and stuff won't fly out. I won't make a ton of noise working on this and drive Beth crazy, who has a headache upstairs. And yeah, just keeps it clean. Alright, so now we have our window seat into the action. And the last step is to plug it in. This is always scary. Alright, back up here. Bring some SD. Vice holder cutout. Try and get away from the sawdust on the window. Alright, we got the basic cut done. Clean this up a little bit. Back. Dust. Alright, so you can kind of see we've got a rough shape cut out. There's a little bit of a tab on the edge. It's not as pronounced on the bottom. That one may have gotten a little cut a little too small. That's fine. It's all stayed in place, so that was the whole point of having tabs. So now we're going to pull this out and basically, yeah, break it all out. But first, let's grab the thing that's supposed to go in that square, which is this thingy. This is a drill press vise, but I wanted to start using it here so I could stop doing weird things to tape stuff down. And it might be, as you can see, there it is. I think we might have a perfect fit here. I had to do a little finagling because technically when I did the design for this hole to cut out, I treated it as if I were cutting out a feature rather than a hole, and so that just makes it easier in Fusion 360. So that's how it left tabs and things like that. It thought it was cutting this piece out for me because I wanted this, not for the hole that was left over. So I had to do a little math with the width of the cutting head and things like that to make sure that I actually did get the right width of the hole in the end. So anyway, I'm gonna pop that out, put the vise back, undo our C-clamps. Here. I think I'm just going to try my best to keep the mess in here. So I would say this little brush, just even like a regular old dustpan, is one of the best things I bought for this shop area. You generate pretty big mess, and like for some things like MDF dust, you really don't want to be breathing that in or getting it everywhere because it's very fine. And the thing about fine dust, is that it can cause lung problems, and like if it gets too fine, like, you know, fiberglass dust and stuff, that can cause like genetic mutation issues, and you can have fun things like, you know, cancer. So take this out. I really hope it cut it deep enough. I'm a little concerned about that. I have to figure out where to put this. I have, obviously, we're gonna have a little magic cleanup session here. All right, played a little game of cleaning up the mess and really just shifted it around. But now we have some space to look at this. You know, side note, this may look horribly unorganized, but like I rarely lose things. I know what is in this pile. I know what is generally in this direction. Sometimes I don't know if it's exactly like right here and why this wrench is here. It's because I use it to tighten this. Not everyone would know that, but I'm the only one that uses stuff down here, so it's fine. All right, so what we need to do is cut the tabs that are here. What tool would be good for cutting tabs? Well, we have in the secret stash the little saw thing. So we're going to take the little saw thing and saw. And try to do that one-handed. That's going to be fun. You know what? That's not going to work. You guys are going to have to, like, sit right here. Here we go. Right here. That's not going to be fun. Where's the camera? Yeah. Let's rotate everything. All right, you guys are gonna have to sit right here. This is very precarious. You don't know what I'm doing, but I'm leaning you up against a drill bit right now. All right. All right, that one's done. That one's done. MDF is not a hard material. Okay, sorry. Got a phone call while I was recording, and that apparently ends the video, which sucks. So, this is what happened. I cut the tabs with this thing, and yeah, so now we have a nice little piece of MDF that will probably be tossed in the scrap pile of history, and next we'll decide how clean we want this to be. Do we want to file down these edges? Do we actually need a little buffer here? How tight is all this going to be? Now we could quickly do a little cleanup with my little sanding block. Don't know what that is. More cat hair. So yeah, that works pretty well. It's like this is like 120 grit sandpaper. It's not gonna like take your finger off, so it'll clean up edges pretty well. This is a sanding block that is not being used correctly by me, but I use it like this because it's convenient. Basically, there's no real reason to go crazy on this, but we want it to be able to sit flat on the surface inside the CNC machine, because it's going to go back in there. So that's what this is for. So the corner's a little rough, that's okay. The thing we're using this for has a wider radius than these corners anyway, so we won't be touching the corners. Alright, so it's looking pretty good. Probably want to take a little more effort to get these tabs sanded down. So, alright, I've sanded down the tabs to my satisfaction. It's not perfect, but it could be that we actually want a little extra pressure on the edges just to have a better hold on the clamp. So I guess the next thing to do is to actually test the clamp. And this is a pretty big deal. If the clamp is not a snug fit, this will basically be worthless, and we'll have to figure out a way to make it a snug fit. Because if the clamp moves while it's in the CNC machine, which is where it's going, then that's kind of defeats the purpose of having something stable like a clamp to hold your piece. So yeah, I'm going to rearrange this and I'll come back. Alright, we're back. And this is the big moment. Will the drill press vise fit snugly in this hole? Uh-oh. Snug so far. Maybe a little too snug. That's better than too loose though, because I can't fix that as easily. So if I can like... It's so close. If I could find my persuader. Here we go. Maybe persuade a little fit. May have over persuaded. Hold on. Alright, we got one end in. Persuade the back end. I need to persuade a little stronger. I don't think that's going anywhere anytime soon. Now, the main thing you have to worry about when you're doing this kind of stuff is if I smashed in there, how do I know it's perfectly level? So you don't. You just gotta check. So it feels pretty level to me. It may be a challenge if I need to get this back out, but I'm pretty happy with that. I bet I could pick this up and it would just take the whole vise with it. Nice. So that's a good friction fit. So let's slide this back in. I'm not going to do that with one hand because it's too heavy. So be right back. Alright. It's in, it's flush. We got our C-clamps back in place. I think we can awkwardly tighten the clamp. Not the most ideal, but... So we'll have to be careful from now on. I like this because now I can work on small pieces without having to do this weird glue strip thing that I've had to do before, because there's not that many great ways to hold down a piece of material in here, and I'm poorly set up because normally people use these little, like, a grid of holes drilled in, and then some things you screw into those holes to hold down the things you're working on. I didn't do that because I'm an amateur and I don't care. So this is what I wanted to do, and I did it. So that should inspire each one of you to follow your dreams, no matter what those dreams are. Alright, so let's do a final maneuver here to avoid hitting this metal with a metal drill bit and creating shrapnel that impales me in the stomach. That would be a sad day. Oh, wrong way. So likely what we'll do, if there are pieces I need to put in here that bring it dangerously close to the metal, I'll put spacers in the bottom so it'll hold the wood up that I'm working on high and avoid the drill bit actually hitting the metal. That would be a sad day. Really, it'd just be like a broken drill bit. Maybe it'll knock this off the chassis a little bit. That just suck. Alright, so I think we raised it up. There we go. That's the general position it would be in, so that's fun. Also, in case you're wondering, this is my little blow hose. I had compressed air connected to this to try and like blow out sawdust without having to like open up this box, and it like fell down and it didn't work very well, so that's what that is. Alright, well, now we have to test it. I will try to think of something to test on. Alright, we're back. I've got some new G-code and designs and stuff loaded up in the little SD card here, and we're going to be working on my little wood block I carved from a tree in the backyard. Figured I'm tired of looking at it and now it's time to play around with it a little bit. So to use this in our new vise, move this over slowly. We're gonna need, see, if I just like sat it in there, that's below this lip. I don't want this tool hitting up against that. I don't want that to come even close. So we're gonna do a spacer right here, and then we're gonna sit it on the spacer. It has to be a little smaller than this, but I need it to like sit up on it. So we'll close it down. Make sure everything's flat. Make sure it's happy. I don't like how that lined up. I'm being weird now, but fuck you. If you start giving up on the details early, it'll come back and bite you. Alright, so that's in there pretty tight. You don't want to put it in so tight that it discolors the wood. Come to think of it, I may have just done that. Well, we'll sand it off. Alright, so this needs to be positioned. Yeah, it's not in good position, so I'm gonna. Alright, after some trouble, found the center. I'm not like a super precise person by any means for this kind of stuff. Well, that's not entirely true, but I like to get as close as I can because thanks to working with a designer for years, I now care about tiny things, and I can try and convince myself that I don't care about precision in design, but at the end of the day, I still have nightmares about it, so that's where we're at right now. All right. What? Hello, Kennedy. All right. Kennedy loves power tools. I don't know why. Make sure it's all centered. I think this isn't good enough. We'll find out how terrible all this is real quick. Secondly, need to make sure I have my, here we go, this bit. This is the engraving bit. So this is a collar that I thought was going to be cool until I 3D printed that collar. And then turns out when you put something 3D printed under 30,000 RPMs, it just has a spontaneous deconstruction. So I'm not going to be using that. Alright, we're going to skip to the good stuff. So this is how you know you did something wrong when you're cutting in the air. And I think I just realized that I'm in the wrong orientation. I need to flip everything around. Alright, I think we fixed it. The orientation should make a little more sense now. Do you think it's cutting? Yeah, it's cutting. There we go. So this is what's called a facing operation. And basically it creates a face on the workpiece that is parallel with the whole CNC work structure. And so everything that is done to the workpiece after the facing should be parallel with everything else in here, which means you'll get more accurate work. And for this thing, I'm just going to do a little engraving. So I'm just messing around. There's like a 60% chance something will go wrong, but at this stage, I mean, I don't really care. Moving right along. Kennedy is managing things from above, taking a little rest. Getting really tiring. Alright, so we got most of the servicing operation done. There's a little lip back there that didn't quite get it, but I can take care of that pretty easily with a sander or something. So yeah, that'll need to be sanded down a bit too, because there's some, you can see some toolpath stuff when it's like breaking off the edge. So that's there. Easy solution. Alright, so now it's time for the tool change. It's waiting for me right now. I wish I had put it in a better position to do the tool change, because that's pretty awkward. So we're going to do that. Alright, we now have the engraving bit, and that's going to be your next operation on this thing. And basically this thing's just waiting for us to change the tool, and then we'll hit resume, although I can't remember which button was resume. But anyway, we're going to find it and hit it, and then it's going to start engraving. So. Anyway, that's engraving. Basically it takes a wedge-shaped bit and does varying depths to get different weights of lines and stuff like that. So yeah, we'll wait for that to finish and I'll dust it off and show it to you. Alright, engraving's done but undusted and uncleaned up. So I have to do a little more cleanup, but it looks like it went pretty well. I'm not expecting perfection here because these engravings are so determined by, like the quality is so determined by getting the height adjustments just right. And anyway, yeah, I'm gonna pull this thing out soon and dust it off. Alright, here we go. This is the rough dusted off version of the engraving I did of Molly's face, my dog. I just did like a little vector drawing and imported it and etched her into this piece of wood because that's what I'm doing this Sunday, or Monday, whatever this day is, Labor Day. So I'm gonna clean this up a little bit, sand it off to get rid of these like cut marks and see what this looks like in the end. Starting to shape up a little bit, doing a little cleanup with an X-Acto blade. A bit difficult to do with one hand, but basically you get a little extra pieces of wood in here that don't belong, things that dirty up the design. I had to pull this weird nub out of the middle of her nose. Basically, I'm probably going to need to go over this thing with some air, some compressed air, some air, and clean it up a little bit. I thought about running over some like black paint or something through the lines and then just sanding the excess off the top so it leaves it all black in the middle. But I mean, this seriously, this is a dog's face cut into a piece of wood, so it's not really that big of an undertaking or big of a deal to preserve. So anyway, yeah, I'm gonna keep cleaning up. Okay, this is the finished, well, kind of finished product. I don't really know why I made it. I just wanted to have my dog's face on a piece of wood, so that's what I did. Cleaned up really well, surprisingly. Maybe I'll stain it. I don't know. I'll probably just set this on my desk. I may chop it down to be more of a square shape. And yeah, so that's it. I guess that'll be it for this video too. I don't really know what the point of this video even was, but just to give you a sample of the crap that I do in my garage. Alright, talk to you later. Okay, I lied. I'm not finished. I decided to cut the sides off, and now I have a little molly block. Just for my desk. Okay, the end for real this time.